Okay, now we move on to the original objective of this video, which is to take the square root of perfect squares that are fractions. So in our first example, we have the square root of 64 over 100. So just like before, I can simply split the top number and the bottom number and take the square root of them separately. So in this case, I have the square root of 64 over the square root of 100, and the square root of 64 is going to be 8, and the square root of 100 is going to be 10. So that means that the square root of 64 over 100 is 8 over 10, or you can say this is 4 over 5, or you can say this is 0.8, however you want to say it. Now, for example 2, I have the square root of 18 over 50. Now, in this case, if I were to take the square root of 18, you can already tell that's not going to be a perfect square. Neither is the square root of 50. So I feel like we're missing a step. And the step we're missing is, remember, we should reduce this to its lowest terms as soon as possible, right? So in this case, I have the square root of 18 over 50, but I can reduce this by dividing the top and bottom numbers by 2, right? And upon doing so, look what happens. I'm now going to get the square root of, now 18 divided by 2 is going to be 9, and 50 divided by 2 is 25. So now I have the square root of 9 over 25. So now if I split it into the square root of 9 on the top and the square root of 25 on the bottom, the square root of 9 is going to be 3, and the square root of 25 is going to be 5. So that means that the square root of 18 over 50 is simply going to be 3 over 5, or 0.6. Okay, now I want to go over an example where we have the square root of a decimal number. So our first step should be to express this decimal number as a fraction. Now, 8 is in the tens place and 1 is in the hundreds place. So because 1 is in the hundreds place and it's my last number on the right hand side, I know this is going to be over 100. Now I simply just place the top number right on the numerator while ignoring the decimal. So I would write 081 or simply just 81, because 081 is the same as 81. So in this case, I know I can express this square root now as the square root of 81 over 100. Now we simply do our trick here. We simply split up the top number and take the square root of it, and then take the square root of the bottom number. So in this case, the square root of 81 is simply going to be 9, and the square root of 100 is going to be 10. So I get 9 over 10, or 0.9. And just to check your work, if you guys don't believe me, go take out your calculator, type in the square root of 0.81, and see if you get 0.9.